Hello everybody, my name is Tiffany. I'm the Tipsy Artist, and today we are going live with our cute little baby Yoda. All right, I'm gonna start with the model first. Here's my cute little model. There he is, baby Yoda. All right, and I'm also doing something a little bit new today. I'm trying to bring the camera in a little bit closer. So if you have been with me before, I appreciate your feedback on this if you like it. So I think it will help because it will help you see more of the details a little bit better. All right, so let's talk about our project with our tools, everything that we need here first. All right, so we've got a painting kit for this. Has everything that you need online. So here are the templates. We've got the cute little shapes here for you. You can just trace around all of these. That comes with it. And then of course brushes come with it. And then our whole kit here. Let me give you a visual. We've got all the paints and the canvas, the brushes, and then of course the templates. All right, so we're all set here. Okay, so I've got everything laid out, ready to go. This is a little bit interesting with this particular design. I actually let all of the white of the canvas be my background. The canvas is painted and primed white to start with. So we'll just go ahead and take advantage of that. And then let me talk about the trace here too. If you are a beginner, of course, and you're a little bit hesitant with the tracing, I always recommend using a pencil first. Then when you are happy and pleased with how it looks, then you can come back in with your Sharpie to go ahead and firm all of that up. And some of this is, I think, let's see, there's very little freehand work on this. The template takes care of almost everything. There's just tiny little details here with the nuance of the little nose and the smile. Since those were so tiny, you do have to go ahead and freehand that in there. But that's just like a little upside down U. Hello everybody. Hi Lila, Rolinda, Mariah. Yay! Yes, may the force be with me. Hello Kathy. Yeah, that's a good one. That'd actually be a fun thing to write. That'd be a long thing to write. That would take some planning for sure, but that'd be fun. All right, and then I've got tiny little leaves in here that I just did. You can hand paint those or you can sketch those on first. But for the most part, the templates are really awesome on this. There's just every single shape that's done, so that's really awesome. So we've got all of this traced on. That's gonna be a great start for us. And again, I'm leaving all of the white background just white. So that really helps out a lot. So we're gonna go ahead and start with the color of my cute little Yoda here. So it is a very pretty green. So there's a couple different options I'm going to share with you. You can keep it really bright by doing like a yellow and then a green, which is not really true Yoda, but it is bright and fun and colorful. So let me show you what this looks like first. So again, this is just a bright lemon yellow and our green, and I'll mix the two of those up together. And this keeps it very bright and vibrant, almost like a lime color. So this is a really pretty shade. Now, if you want to make it a little bit more earthy, which is actually a little bit more like the real Yoda, then I'll go ahead and push in a little bit more of this like gold color here in with that mix. And so that will keep that green a little bit more golden and earthy. And that's actually how I have it in the model. So that's just up to you. Kind of just depends on what your color scheme is in your house, what you're trying to match up here. All right, so again, I've got my gold with my green. And the brush that I'll start with, since this is a fairly large area, I'll go ahead and use my mama brush as much as possible. And as I'm positioning this in, I'll go ahead and use the flat side of the brush to go ahead and work in as much as I can into a larger area. And then when I'm doing the line work around the edge, then I'll go ahead and hold the brush just like a pencil to go ahead and line that out. And then when I need to blend into this, then I'll go ahead and turn that brush over to the side and kind of feather into that. So I've got all of this to work into. And I have actually never seen anything with Baby Yoda in it. I'm very embarrassed to say that. But my son has watched all of it. And this was actually the only thing he wanted for Christmas. Uh-oh. Are y'all, okay, can somebody tell me if they're still with me? Are y'all back with me? I got a thumbs up. Okay. That was really weird. That's never happened before. I guess I had some internet connectivity issues. Okay. It says live in 17, 18. Hopefully y'all are still with me. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and feather this out. I'll keep kind of looking back. If somebody wants to, I did see a like, but if somebody wants to actually type in, we can see you, then I'll know for sure that you are with me. Somebody said, I'm back. Okay, good. Yeah, I definitely need that force to be with me today. I need the force to be with me. I need the force to be with my internet. I don't know what happened. Yeah, I've been doing this quite a while and I've never had an interruption before. But I guess there's a first for everything. All right, so again, I'm just kind of feathering this back out, adding a little bit more coverage over the surface because I was noticing a little bit of some transparency happening with the green paint. So I came back in with a little bit more white in the mix and the gold to help it have much better coverage. And then of course we have cute little green hands here too. Those are really small, so I'm going to need a smaller brush. So I'm going to put Mama in the water. And then I will come in with little buddy. So here's my little buddy brush. Hello, Sean. Hello from Winfield, Kansas. All right, so here we go, little buddy. And we're gonna paint into these cute little hands. And again over here. All right. Okay, so I also have these little leaves that I can do here too. All right, so I'm going to mix in more paint here. I really liked what the white did with this mix, so I'll push in a lot more white. A little bit of that gold, a little bit of yellow too to warm this back up a bit more. Brighten it up. And then I will go ahead and line this out first with my little buddy brush. Just hold it like a pencil. And we'll just go ahead and paint into this little leaf shape here. And this little shape is just a fun little trending leaf. It's really popular right now. It's kind of a loopy leaf. And we provided the template, it just makes it a little bit easier, but of course you can freehand it on if you prefer that look. I will also teach you how to freehand on little tiny variations of that same shape. But for this, I'm going to use the template. All right, so again, this is that first step where I did all the outline work. So now what I need to do is I need to kind of feather it back out because I'm seeing brush strokes and transparency. So I've got a lot of paint loaded up on one side of the brush. And I'll go ahead and just hold this over to the side and just feather this out lightly. All right, good job, go team. Okay, so here we go again. And I hope y'all are having a beautiful Friday today. Yes, there is. There is a kit available for Baby Yoda. So cute. Yeah, it has little templates. Yeah, very fun. We have it online, just tipsyartist.com. And thank you for asking. Yeah, we've been enjoying this really beautiful weather. I have a feeling it's going to get really hot soon, but it's still super nice outside. And then we will have a cookout later today, and gonna have family over this evening for a cookout, so it's gonna be awesome. And then I'm hoping my allergies don't flare. All of a sudden I have allergies. So, well, I get them every year, but every year it feels like, oh, where'd this come from? But we have this blooming catappa tree in the backyard, and man, it can be a little rough. All right, so doing that feathering out here again. So I want a nice thick coat of paint to rest on top. So in order to do that, I have to really hold that brush more over to the side, parallel to the canvas. And then I'll just kind of feather that on, and then that will give me a nice coat of paint over the top. All right, so we have all of that beautiful green done now for our cute little baby Yoda. We've got the leaves done, and the little hands, and the face. And then let's go ahead and work on that cute little robe too. All right, so with this, let's see here. I am going to do my mix with my mama brush, and I'll be using a lot of that gold. And let me get a little bit more here. I want to make sure I've got enough. So this is going to be some gold and some white. All right, gold and white. And then if you want to add a little bit of like a taupe feeling to it, you can just barely touch into the black, teeny tiny amount, push that through, and then that'll add just a nice touch of that gray blends in there, and then it kind of pushes it to more of a taupe color. So you can add a little bit of that too, or you can just keep it very light and creamy with just the gold and the white. All right, so I've got lots of that mixed up here now, and I'll be using my mama brush to go ahead and place this onto the surface. Now this particular color really has nice coverage because it has a lot of white in it. So you won't notice a lot of transparency on this. That's the beautiful thing about white. It really does have great coverage, always covers well. And I don't want to lose that little line. It should bleed through, but just in case, I'm going to come in with some darker gold and kind of add a little accent here so I don't lose it. And then I'll come in light here for the rest of it, which is that light cream that we mixed up. And then we'll just keep pushing in the same color into the rest of that little robe. And then remember our cut-in work, you can turn the brush more like a pencil, come towards the canvas like that. That'll give you a line edge. And then when you have to feather out into the larger area, then you can go ahead and turn the brush over to the side and then just blend this in. Just continue painting this in. And there's a larger area to work into and feather out, so a lot of times what I'll do too to really blend it in softly is to go ahead and kind of crisscross the brush back and forth. Make sure and lay that brush on the side, and then it gives it a lot of nice even texture by just, again, just kind of gradually and lightly just crisscrossing the brush back and forth. Kind of like you're making the letter X over and over and over again. And then I don't want to lose some of these lines here on the little cuffs. So I'll do that little trick again where I do put in just a little bit of that darker gold. It's going to be pretty small in this area. Oh, that actually just bleeds through nicely, so. Probably have to switch over to a smaller brush to work on some of the nuance of this smaller area. Alright, so I've got a little bit brush handy here. Let's do a little bit of gold here to keep that little line. And then we can lightly feather this brush in too into those smaller areas. Same thing, just kind of lightly lay it on the side and just kind of crisscross back and forth with a light hand. We're going to let that sit up and dry a little bit before we come in with more detail. And then let's go ahead and work in some of our base color for our heart and our rose. We'll start with the heart first. So it's just a really pretty red color, very vibrant. Let's see here, I want a little bit of a bigger brush. All right, so I'm going to come in with my mama again. And let's go ahead and do some just pure red this time. And then to get those lines done, I'll have to hold the brush more like a pencil to go ahead and do the cut-in work. Get those edges. The red will be very translucent at first. You'll see those brush strokes. You have to have that at first because you have to hold the brush, you know, more like this. Again, more like a pencil to get the line work done. But now we'll go ahead and feather it into the center to get good coverage over the surface. So I load the brush up with enough paint here on top, and then I'll just hold that brush over to the side and just lightly apply that paint on the side of the brush. So just parallel to the canvas, and then just lightly touch on the surface, and that will give you your nice red coverage over this heart. All right, very pretty there. All right, now we're going to do the foundation of the rose. So I will add a little bit of white to this red. That'll give me a really pretty light pink to start with. And of course, this is a little optional detail here, just a nice feminine touch, but certainly not necessary if you're not quite wanting this little rose on here, but it's kind of cute if you like this. All right, so we've got our little rose we'll work in. And the base of the rose is just one solid color. And so it looks, this is just a light pink that I'll use to start with. So at first, all of our roses always look like little lumpy circles. So that's okay. That's exactly how we want it to look at this stage. So that's our foundation. All right, then the next pattern of the rose, we come in with our little bit brush here. And I'm going to just use white paint to start with. And so the basic pattern over the top of the rose, it looks like you make little half circles like that, and you just place those down in a circular pattern. So little half circles placed in a circular pattern to go all the way around that shape. And I always start with the white first, and then I'm going to go ahead and work in the darkest color next for shadows that come in. All right, so still using my little bit brush, I just washed it off, dried it. That's important too. You don't want excess water on the canvas. So then I'll go ahead and push into the darkest color, which will be that red. So there's my touch of red here. And then I'll go ahead and just push down right in the center. I'll do a little push and then lift off with a light hand. That's that little shadow right in the middle of the rose. And then I'll do little half circles. It's just basically a repeat of that same pattern. And just push that down in little half circles here. And there's our beautiful rose. All right, so it's very fun, loose pattern work that comes in over the top. All right, now we're going to do a little bit of a detail here with cute little leaves. These are our fun little loopy leaves. All right, so I'm going to shift back here to this green that we had in the very beginning that we used for Baby Yoda here, and I've still got my little bit brush. And this is a mix of my green and a little bit of that gold, maybe a little bit of white. And then I'll go ahead and take that brush, just twist it into the paint. That'll give me a nice fine point. And then I will go ahead and make my little lines to start with. This will be the stem that I'll do here first. So a little stem that comes out. And then each little leaf is a little loop. So it just goes up for a loop and then it will reconnect back to the stem. So start from the stem, then make a little loop and come back to the center. And same thing here on the other side. All right, and then if you want to add just little hints of tiny little like spots of flowers, you certainly can. Yes, it will. The question is, will this recording be available later on? Yes, I always leave all of my recordings up forever and ever and ever, so you can always come back and do the class later too. And then as I continue to do more and more of these, I'll also try to make sure that there's a backup on YouTube as well. So we're trying to get that done as soon as possible, especially for people who maybe not on Facebook and don't want to have to log in. You know, YouTube's available for everybody all the time. All right, so let's see here. Let's do just a hint of little tiny flowers just for fun. Also, it shows you a really neat pattern technique. So I'm going to use the handle of the brush and I will dip into the red paint. See how it makes a little dot there on the end? And then I will just press straight forward on the canvas. And this will just give me a really fun little polka dot every single time. All right, very fun. All right, so little cute flowers are there, so that's awesome. All right, so again, optional, but those are nice little touches you can add to your design. All right, so now we have details we need to work into Baby Yoda here too. So definitely have a lot of black outline I need to do. And then as a beginner at home, what I would recommend is if you painted in this whole face, and this is some freehanding work. So you want to make sure that you have room to give yourself some forgiveness to work it out. So definitely let it all set up and dry. Take your pencil and work it out. That way you can erase if you need to. And you want to put in like your little nose here. I'm going to turn to face mine so I can see where I have mine. See, I have a little nose there again. And then you've got a little smile here. I don't mean to cover it up, but I kind of lost my little lines there. So there I am there. And then I've got the face kind of just comes up a little bit here. So yeah, there's not much free-handed work, but just a tad. And then these little lines here on the side of the face, think of that like making a parentheses. It's just basically all it is, just a parentheses, here and here. Parentheses, parentheses. And then you can make a little, there's a little nuance here for the ear, so it just kind of comes up to a line here. You'll be able to see this more here in just a second with paint. But I go ahead and sketch all that on. And then I've got little details here. These are like little wrinkles in his face and little hairs, wild hairs. Little wild baby hairs coming up. So beautiful, thank you. What a kitty, huh? Baby Yoda, so cute. All right, so now let's go ahead and work in that black detail. Now again on this, if you want to use black Sharpie or a paint pen, that's also a really good idea. A lot easier to use. All right, so let me show you this. I've got my little bit brush and I'm gonna go ahead and twist into the paint. This will give me a nice fine point. There it is. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this cute little nose. Teeny tiny little cute nose. All right, and then a little smile here. All right, now we got the sides of the face. Remember, it's just like making a little parentheses. And the little nuance of the ear kind of comes up to that point there. And then again, here's the little nuance for the ear. Just basically kind of a loose line that goes up to that point in a long diagonal. And then we have our cute little baby hairs here. And then these are just real light. We'll keep these lines very light and thin. So I want to make sure I do another twist into the black paint and just barely kind of line it out. Let's do another one here. Well, my paint is wet, so it's just kind of pulling into that wet paint. I'm kind of losing it, so if it were dry, it would rest right on top, but that's what's happening. So I need to go ahead and go over it with just a few more coats. There it is. All right, and then I've got one more little wrinkle right in here. All right, so I think I've got that pretty well lined out. Make sure I'm not forgetting anything. I've got sides of face, ears, little eye wrinkles above there, little baby, wild baby hairs, nose, smile. Okay, good job. All right, so now we're going to continue lining out the rest. Yes, cute little guy, thank you. He is so cute. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and make a line here. This is where the robe begins. And then I don't want to forget all this area here too. Line all the way around the face. And then up top. Yeah, and this is just a nice finishing touch here. All right, and then that robe shape will really start to pop now because we're going to come back in with the line work. So here's a little shape of the robe that we did initially lose, but now here it is again. All right, and then here we go again on the other side. And we've got more line work here. And I'll also outline my little heart here. This is also something that could be done with, oh, thank you so much. This is also something that can be done with Sharpie too. It makes it a little bit easier if you prefer that. Just make sure you wait for all your paint to dry. Because wet paint kills a Sharpie. just finishing up the little outlines here. And then I have a few little like wrinkles or folds in the rope, so I'll go ahead and do that. And it's just a quick little swish, kind of like the shape of a parentheses. One right there. All right, so we are really pretty good on that. And then as an optional step, you don't have to, you can do an outline work around all of your greenery. But that's certainly optional, or you can just leave it kind of raw. And today I'm going to go ahead and just leave that raw just as it is. And then I definitely have some more details on the eyes. So this is a really fun technique. These are the flash points of the eyes, and they'll give his eyes a lot more sparkle and pop here. All right, so it's still using a fun little trick that I do where we are going to use the handle of the brush and do a really big circle first. So he's actually got 2 flash points in each eye. So just as a reminder, I'll show you what I'm looking at. See that? And so you got to make sure you put them on the right sides first. So I'm going to start with the biggest flash point first. And so I'll start on this side. I'll take my big brush here, dip into the white paint. There it is. It's all loaded up, ready to go. And I'm going to come in on this side. So on both eyes, it will be on the, well, I know we have a mirror thing, but for me, it's my left. So I will go ahead and push down just like that on the left side. And then I'll do the same thing here, left side, okay? Because if you go on both inner parts, I mean, it'll be cute, but it'll look like he's going cross-eyed, which is kind of fun. But if that happens, just go with it. It's just going to be kind of cute, actually. But that is what will happen. All right, so we've got the first flash point done. Now we need to come in with a smaller flash point and right next to it. So I will use a smaller brush, and then I will dip into the white paint. There it is. And then same thing just on this side of it. And then I'll do the same thing on this side. So now they have symmetry, and it looks like he's looking directly ahead. And it just adds a whole lot of vibrant personality there. All right, so we have all of this all painted in. Now you can add little accents here too, which can be done with a little bit of white or gold. I'm gonna go ahead and come in with a little bit of white and gold. Little bit brush here, and I'll just do a nice little accent right here in the little ear. So it's just kind of echoing the same line, just right underneath. Just a soft sketch of a line there. Same thing here. Just kind of adds a nice little touch to it. And then next I want to use just a darker gold so I have nice contrast. Still using a little bit brush, and then I'll do a few little accents, just kind of echoing the same shape that's already there, and then little sketches. Tiny ones here. Alright, so that just kind of adds a nice little bit of depth, you know, in a fun way, very kind of artistic, stylish way, a little bit of depth happening. So very fun. Alright, and now you can do your lettering. So this is an optional step. You don't have to do lettering if you don't want to. But I always recommend taking your pencil first. That way you can, you know, if it doesn't quite work out the first time, eraser, you can rework it. And so I'm going to go ahead and just position this up here at the top. Also, if you're pretty type A, I would recommend a ruler and just placing that right here so that you can see that it's on a straight line. I'm going to be wild and free and not not do any of that today, which is all right. I've done this one a lot, so I'll just kind of wing it. All right, and then I'm going to firm this up with a little bit of paint. And I've got my little bit brush again. Now this brush is just moist with water, but I definitely want to dry it off so that there's no excess water in the brush. You don't want that because you're coming into black, and if you've got excess water, too much in the brush, it will create what looks like a mascara run on there, and you do not want that. And now I'm going to do a little twist into the paint. This will rotate the brush into a nice fine point. And then I just follow my lettering. And keep in mind that the dry brush look is actually really popular. And anytime you're doing lettering with a letter that has a hole in the middle, like the O or the A's, you want to make sure and take that brush around that shape so that you don't lose that hole, because the thickness of the paint could actually close it up and you could end up losing your hole right here in the middle of your A. So that's a fun little trick for your lettering. We got another one here with the B. So again, I made sure to kind of come on the outside of that shape. And I made my O kind of crazy slender, so I'm gonna actually fix that with paint. I actually feel like I paint better than I draw, so it's a thing. Anymore, I probably paint more than I write, especially with the age of the computer. Okay, yay, so it says BabyYoda now, very exciting. Okay, or you could put, like if it's for kiddo's bedroom or something, you could actually do their name, which would be really fun. All right, and then of course, signing your masterpiece. So this can be done with paint, like just like what I did up here, or let me show you how beautiful a Sharpie can be. So Sharpie is super fast and easy, and it can also be really tiny, which can come in handy. It's really challenging to get this small with paint and a brush. So Sharpies are really awesome for that. Alrighty, so we are done with our cute little BabyYoda. So y'all have a lot of fun with that. All right, so again, thank you so much for joining me today. We will be coming to you live again tomorrow for sure. We are doing the blue flower. It has been super popular, so we're super excited to see everybody again tomorrow. So yes, please join us tomorrow at noon, Saturday, for the blue flower. And enjoy your weekend and have a wonderful Friday. And again, thank you so much for joining me. We'll see you soon. Mwah.